I want to start out by introducing myself. My name is Timothy Amerson. I served 32 years in the Army and the Texas Army National Guard, where I retired in the rank of Major in 2018. I began my career as an enlisted soldier, serving 12 years before getting commissioned as through the Officer Candidate School. Over the course of my service, I had several leadership positions as a platoon leader, commander, operations officer, information operations officer, network officer, a few other jobs. But at the end of my career, I specialized in cyber operations as the deputy commander of the Defense Cyberspace Operations Element, the cyber protection team, where I led red, blue, and white teams. Today, I'm proudly to say that I'm the founder, chief executive officer, and the chief information security officer of Casmo Consulting. I also recently served as the chief information security officer for the Social Security Administration. That was my final federal job. With over 25 years of experience in information technology and cybersecurity across the military, federal government, and private sector, I continue to focus on advancing national and organizational security. Well, during my military career, I saw firsthand how the critical cyber defense was to the mission success. Threats were no longer just focused on physical domain. The adversaries had fully entered into the digital battlefield. Whether we want to call this conflict a cyber conflict or not, I think it is really clear that we are at cyber war. This realization, coupled with my natural curiosity in technology, motivated me to decide I want to dedicate myself to cybersecurity. Since 1999, I had been deeply involved in this field. I set up the first computer emergency response team, which later we turned into a communication emergency response team, which deployed to Katrina, I'll talk about later. Also, the first cyber protection team in Texas, that was aligned to U.S. Cybercom. Beyond my military service, I have coached, mentored high school and college students in cybersecurity teams since 2014. And for me, cybersecurity is more than a career. It is the next battlefield, and I want to remain committed to defending this nation in this domain. Well, the military instilled discipline, structure, and the ability to remain calm under pressure. I deployed multiple times into combat, several places like Egypt, Iraq, the Horn of Africa. I even deployed to a domestic mission here in the United States, Hurricane Katrina, as I communicated, getting the communications back up and operational so they can start helping citizens during that tragedy. In each case, my focus was always the mission, not the chaos surrounding it. This mindset carries directly into cybersecurity. Incident response, if you've ever been a part of one, can be chaotic. You got people running all over the place trying to figure out what to do next. But those with military training often thrive under that pressure. My experience in cyber warfare operations also gave me valuable insight into adversarial thinking, helping me anticipate threats and prepare defenses. Programs such as the Certified Ethical Hacker reinforced this perspective by training defenders to think like attackers, which has been critical in my success. Not only am I a Certified Ethical Hacker, I actually made it into the Certified Ethical Hacker Hall of Fame in 2023. Like I said before, military's taught me several things, but some other things that it's taught me is lead by example. Set a clear strategy. Ensure every team member understands the mission from top to bottom. Precision and communication were vital. Mistakes, if a mistake happens in this area, it could cause lives. An example would be, if I tell you to meet me at 6 o'clock and I don't tell you 6 a.m. or 6 p.m., you actually could be, an hour late, 12 hours late to a very critical mission, which is why we have the 2400-hour system, so there's no question about what time is. That's a little example, but I think it's one that we can all understand and relate to. The same principle applies to cybersecurity, where a single misconfiguration can lead to an outage or a compromise. I built CASMO Consulting with that mindset. CASMO stands for Cybersecurity, the art and science of maintaining operations. Too often, cybersecurity is viewed as an obstacle rather than an enabler. My philosophy is that security must support the mission and the business objectives. Simply shutting down systems is not success. Containing them only to contain them is not success. Ensuring operations continue securely is. At my company, we focus on several things. Zero trust, supply chain risk management, insider threat, blending these technical experiences with mission first mindset I developed across my career. So at the end of the day, I kind of handle cybersecurity differently. Like I said, I want to focus, be with my business partner and figure out how I can continue to enable them to accomplish the mission. So I'm going to go over 3 different ones, not any particular priority, but just kind of hit the last one I was in. I was at the Social Security Administration, and as a CISO there, which for those who don't know, when you're in the cybersecurity career field, one of the highest positions you can get to in the cybersecurity career field is the Chief Information Security Officer. So reaching that right there was a very high milestone for me. But some of the things that took place while I was there. So at Social Security Administration, we helped secure the agency serving over 300 million citizens. That's a lot of responsibility. I led the zero trust adoption efforts and raised Social Security's cyber risk score from a 69% to a 98% in my first year of being there. Well, that achievement earned recognition as one of the most improved agencies and being the second highest rated agency across the government. Prior to coming to Social Security Administration, I was at the Department of Veteran Affairs. While I was there, COVID happened. One of the responsibilities I had was to lead a coordination group. We called the security swim lane for that particular area, where anything that was happening in relation to how we were going to respond to COVID, how we were going to help the business and support veterans, and by the way, execute the 4th mission. The 4th mission of the Department of Veteran Affairs is to be the core medical backbone for the United States. So several things that we had done is enabling to provide remote telehealth appointments for 1.6 million appointments for our veterans. That's pretty awesome in securing the telehealth system. So we went from everyone coming in to, hey, we need to meet them where they're at. And then the other thing that we had to do is create a safeguard around the refrigeration systems. So like I said, our 4th mission is the medical backbone, which required us to help with the vaccination distribution. So we would store them within our facilities. One of the things that we thought we received information on was threat on the supply chain. So we understood, because of that threat intel, that we needed to secure that supply chain drastically. We didn't have something in place watching refrigerators, and now we did. So protecting that critical infrastructure during a time of an unprecedented threat. So it was crazy. And the last thing would be, what we just talked about from an entrepreneurship perspective is establishing CASMO Consulting. Allowing me to continue supporting the mission from a new vantage point. Within weeks, I founded the company, and then I also started to secure major Fortune 500 clients, federal partners. Being able to serve while building something of my own has kind of been a highlight of my career. So I've really enjoyed that as well. And I will tell you what I'll add on here is when I get my master's degree at the end of this year, I will consider that to be a major milestone. Okay, so I've been in this conversation for quite some time about degree versus certification, certification versus degree. And I will tell you it depends. I will tell you certification is always important. And I will tell you sometimes, depending on what you're at in your career, when a degree is important. Not that it's not important, it's when it is important. So certifications validate your skills, demonstrate your commitment, provide employers with confidence in a candidate's competency. You know, and that for transitioning veterans, certifications can serve as a bridge translating military experience into industry recognized standards. Now, when I say the degree versus certification, I will tell you, you know, I have over 40 certifications, CIS, CEH, Cisco operations, cyber operations. I've even pursued, just as I was a CISO, I even pursued two more certifications. One was the ISA IEC 62443, which is for operational technology, OT, ICS, which is industrial control systems. I reached a level of expert with that certification. It's 4 different ones. And then also the Cloud Security Alliance, I did the Zero Trust Competency Certification. And why did I do those? Well, as I was sitting as a CISO, I was responsible for, I asked my team to create operational technology, an OT cybersecurity strategy in line with our IT cybersecurity strategy. And there is a difference between those two. And if you ever want to talk about that, hit me up and I will be more than glad to explain. But at the end of the day, if I'm going to ask them to do something, I want them to make sure they understand that I understand. So I went and got that certification and I, helped. And then naturally that actually got them to be interested in it as well. Well, the same thing with Zero Trust. As the executive sponsor for Zero Trust Architecture for our agency, I'm not going to ask my staff to do something I'm not willing to do. So I got that certification because, as I believe in leading by example. This shows the continuous learning never stops. The technical mastery must evolve alongside leadership. You can't just stay, just grow as a leader and not continue to make yourself proficient. I will tell you, when you're seeking out degrees versus certifications, look at degree plans that allow you to do both. And that's one thing ECCU does. It allows you to do both along the way. Matter of fact, some of those classes are certifications. Some of those certifications are classes. So I strongly encourage you, if you're going that path, getting both knocked out at the same time is probably the best equation. Okay, well, I was going to come here and do the Masters in Cybersecurity, but one of the things that was offered to me was, because of a veteran, I got a pretty good scholarship for the computer science one, and I could still do cybersecurity. So I thought it was the best avenue. But let's talk about this for me and what this means. So my education journey began in 1989. And has taken many turns. After when I started my degree, I was in child psychology, and then I had to pause my studies to balance my military service, being a single parent, and eventually I earned my bachelor's degree in computer science in 2003. So that's you can see quite a bit of turns there to go from child psychology, 1989 to finishing it in 2003. After all, and there's a lot more story there. Since then, since 2003, I tried, on 4 different occasions to start my master's program, and it never, the timing was never right. You had deployments, military schools that were at the master's level. I tried to capitalize on those. I just never could get the ball rolling. ECCU focused on cybersecurity combined with flexibility of a program and supporting veterans made it the ideal choice. The flexibility was really made the difference for me. Computer science track challenged me on the topics such as blockchain, artificial intelligence, robotics, and advanced programming, strengthening my technical foundation. I could have, like I said, I could have easily went into cybersecurity and probably wouldn't have been as challenging. This program bridged theory and hands-on application, directly enhancing my ability to address next-generation cyber challenges. So I'm excited and glad that I actually stuck it out and went through the computer science one, but I probably will still get my master's in cybersecurity. Well, you probably heard me say it already. At the end of the day, the flexibility of ECCU's online format was essential for me to be able to even come here. Balancing the executive responsibilities, consulting work, family life. I'm also I lead some nonprofits. Pursuing an advanced study and balancing all this was not easy. But ECCU's flexibility in their online program allowed me to do that. That structure of the classroom lessons, directly the real world scenarios that would come out of the classes, actually helped me in my job as well. I could bring those to work, like improving the Linux server security or exploring some algorithms for risk management frameworks, and maintaining my professional obligations simultaneously. So it's kind of like, even some of the papers that I wrote, I actually used them at work. An AI paper that I wrote. So although the workload was demanding, the format enabled me to pursue my education without disrupting my family and my professional commitments. It was a perfect model for me. So you got to figure out what's perfect for you. But it was definitely perfect for me. When I would work at night, the family already went into their different rooms, watched their TVs, and then I was able to do my homework until about 2 o'clock at night. Absolutely. ECCU, actually combines technical depth and practical application. You've heard me say this before. I'm going to say it again. That's what you should be looking for, is kind of getting two things out of your degree efforts. Getting just theory is a way. Getting just technical experience is a way. But having both of them gets you, allows you to be postured for your next promotion as well. So I think that's what I love most about ECCU. Unlike programs that focus solely on theory, ECCU emphasizes resume producing experience. And what I mean by that is the projects in the labs, they kind of mirror real world scenarios. So you can actually use those as resume producing statements. These hands-on opportunities prepare us to speak with credibility about the capability. So I think that's pretty awesome. And then the critical advantages for veterans transitioning into civilian career. So it's just like an easy transition. So I'm going to tell you why I speak of where I get this, how I can say this. So I've actually been to 6 different universities. I started my master's in one. I was a walk-on for cross country and track, and then I got a scholarship. And so that was the first one. Took a pause, and when I was trying to get my bachelor's, I kind of did the work through different universities, kind of combining everything together to get to my bachelor's. And even when I started my master's, I started at different universities to get there. So this has been the perfect mix and the perfect flexibility. Well, the faculty's been awesome. The staff's been outstanding. The professors, they bring real world experience. Look at some of the professors and where they work. That's the other thing. These adjunct professors that they're working as well and doing this job, but it's where they're working. And that experience, when they are teaching, they're actually utilizing that experience in some of their lessons. So that's awesome to get that into the classroom. You don't always get that. You get a lot of theory in the classroom in some programs, but now you have real world experiences coming into the classroom. Often answering questions quickly despite the time zones, which I thought was pretty interesting as well. We are scattered all over the world in some cases, but they are still very responsive. And then the administrative staff are always supportive. If there's an issue, they solve it as fast as possible. And so I like that. Being at different universities, I remember I'd go a week without getting a response sometimes, making the overall experience very smooth. And and it's very you can see that it's very student focused here compared to other institutes. So ECCU's responsiveness has been excellent. I have 32 years of military experience. So when I talk about this, I'm going to talk about from my knowledge on both the enlisted and the officer side of what I think we need as veterans when we're making this transition. Also, right here, you'll see this key. This key stands for keep elevating yourself. I'm a president of a nonprofit organization, president of the board of a nonprofit organization where the key community focuses on helping veterans transition. So when I talk about this is where I'm talking about it from. My experience of being in 32 years and working with soldiers all throughout my career, and what I've done since then in my volunteer work, helping veterans transition and find the next their next job or whatever it's going to be. So it's been very positive and empowering. The veterans will find it very flexible. It's very veteran friendly. Matter of fact, some of the instructors are veterans themselves. The environment is responsive and supports challenging coursework, which is good because you like to be challenged. I began, when I started my degree, I started with one class. When I started my master's, I started with one class per semester, and then I increased it to two. So that flexibility of being able to do that and feel I can take that additional workload and balance it was very rewarding to get to that level. Overall, I would rate my experience a strong 9 out of 10. Now, I'll tell you, if you're prior service and you understand what I mean by this, you never rest on your laurels. There's always room for improvement. So that's kind of how I want to make sure there's room for improvement. For transitioning veterans, balancing family, career, education, ECUs offers that flexible rigor needed to be successful. So, looking forward to seeing you all on this side. Hopefully, maybe one day I'll be teaching here as well, and I'll have you in one of my bachelor's classes. Okay. To me, this is where I've been heavily trying to fill the gap when it comes to cybersecurity, which is a huge gap. And I think the veteran is probably the most in line with the gap. Cybersecurity is a technical functional area. I don't disagree. But what it takes to get there is not. Having the passion and desire to do this job is what I look for. Now, I have built teams throughout my career. When I built the very first cyber protection team, and when I filled that team, I filled it from different jobs all throughout the military. The leadership said, hey, you need to look at the signal community for these professionals. I'm like, no, I'm going to look at people who want to do this job. And the resumes came in, and they came from all walks of life. And when we did the resume review process, and we did, the selection panel, when we filled that unit, we had 3 years to get them deployment ready. We had them deployment ready in less than a year and a half, and they went and they did the mission very successful. That I believe that's all attributed to the fact that they were from different walks. And that's what's so awesome about cybersecurity. One of the other things I do is DEF CON. I run the workshops in one of the villages. We have to have people from all walks to do cybersecurity. What do we think we have in our veterans? They come from all over the place, and they're put in, so they already know how to take people from all different cultures and come together. So they're the perfect fit for this mission. So without hesitation, yes, cybersecurity is mission-driven. They're mission-driven, fast-paced, requires strategic thinking, always. All the traits that align perfectly with military experience. But really, the passion and desire to accomplish the mission is what's going to make a difference. And this is an ever-changing field. So veterans thrive under pressure, adapt quickly, and bring unique value to the field. So those are things you've already been trained on. I don't have to train you on those things. You come with them. The only thing I need to get is the technical part. And some of you may have already done that. But this is why I think the veteran is perfect for this. Demand for cybersecurity professionals is high. The opportunities are extensive. Well, the first thing is leverage your VA benefits fully. There's so many different benefits out there. Matter of fact, like I told you, I help veterans transition, and when we get them into, there's skill bridge, there's certification programs, there's all these different things out there. You need to leverage for veterans, and you need to leverage that as much as possible. So leverage your VA benefits, leverage those other benefits for your education and your certification. And the reason why, don't let cost be your barrier. So that tends to be the first barrier for most people, is the cost. So this shouldn't be one of your issues. And then, like I said before, seeking programs that offer hands-on labs, not just theory. Make sure you're spending your time, your quality, to get to your end result. And then build a network of peers and mentors. Get my contact information, link up with me on LinkedIn, and start building your network. Join professional groups. Attend industry events. I go to events all the time. Matter of fact, I spoke last week. I'm getting ready to speak the next week. I don't know when this airs, but statistically, I'm speaking almost every week, it seems like. Most importantly, recognize that your military experience is highly transferable. With additional technical skills, you will be well positioned for success. So I strongly encourage you to come this direction. Okay, well, if you haven't figured it out yet, I'm very passionate about cybersecurity. It is the central pillar of national security. Now, I'm going to give you a little inject of what I think, why I think it, and it's going to be very unique in what I'm going to present. I was speaking at an event after COVID. The first time we were out, and I got asked to speak at this one event. It was a health IT event. And I remember talking about buying toilet paper. Okay, now when during COVID, do you remember going to the grocery store and looking for toilet paper and noticing there was none on the shelves? So how did you get it? Did you just wait until they finally restocked? Well, I'll tell you what a lot of people did. They went online. You know why? Because now the toilet paper companies could not fill the shelves fast enough. So they started selling it online. Think about that. Do you think that toilet paper company ever thought that they were going to have to be online with their product? What did they have to do to ensure that their product supply chain is secure? That their customers' transaction is secure? So even a toilet paper company had to get into the IT business. And anybody who's in the IT business has to have security awareness and secure their business. So my point of that is everything is connected now. So we've now just basically made a 360 war zone. And except for there's ones and zeros in this war zone as opposed to bullets and bombs. So we're already engaged in cyber conflict with nation states, criminal actors, they're leveraging AI-driven attacks. The future will require greater collaboration amongst the government, the industry, and academia, even more so than today. And I've even been in situations where the government, even within their own agencies, need to do this better. So there's not a one government, one industry, one aid. It's all have to come together. Alongside continue advancing the zero trust principles. It's not just a technology. You understand, if you've not heard of zero trust, I strongly encourage you to go read up on it, understand it. This principle of never trust, always verify. And that means at any time you're connected, you should never just assume. And then the AI-driven defense. If you're not well, let me tell you something about AI. AI has been in cyber for a very long time. We've been doing machine learning AI for a long time. We've been doing some deep learning for a while as well. It's just Gen AI, which is new, and then now you got agentic AI. Okay, so I'm going to say if you're not leveraging AI in your security stack, you're behind. So get up to speed on how you can leverage AI appropriately. And I think this advanced level of AI, not just the machine learning that's already built into a lot of products. And then the next thing is making sure we're quantum resistant for encryption. So post-quantum, another thing you need to understand, what's this post-quantum conversation? Our encryption model is already been broke, is what I'm thinking, because there's a reason why we have a big push from the government to find the new encryption. NSA's been working on this. So the bottom line is we need to be ready for that when that break happens, and we have to have new standards out there. So with the right talent and commitment, we can stay ahead of the adversary. The demand for skilled professionals will only increase. So you being a part of that, helping us solve this problem, making cybersecurity vital and rewarding career path. Thank you for your time, and I look forward to seeing you in the career.